Great. Okay. Cool. Welcome to our last class. I just wanted to start seated, just like we always do, and kind of like a choose your own adventure, get into your body. So we've been doing a lot of this moving in circles around your legs. If that's something that you enjoy, that's something that I like to do a lot. You can just move your neck in circles, just kind of feel in like, oh, how will I feel settled? Like, what is the movement I can do right now that will help me feel settled in this seat? And just start to notice your breath, pay attention. And as you do the movement, notice if you're starting to feel more settled, if there's some subtle shift you need to make. Just notice your body, pay attention to your body in this space right now. Bring your attention back to your breath. And then find stillness whenever you're ready. Again, notice how your breath is moving as you find stillness. How it's just the flow of it tonight, how it's presenting itself to you, if that makes sense. Just kind of letting yourself be with your breath. Noticing which part of your body moves with the flow, your shoulders, your chest, your stomach. Maybe you feel your back or your ribs expanding with your breath. And these are all fine ways to be breathing. I'm just drawing your attention to different spots to see if you can place some awareness there. So nothing is right or wrong. It's just what you're noticing in your body. And then I want to do just a quick body scan here in seated. So it's not going to be a full, lay on your back kind of thing, but just a quick body scan. And we're going to start from the ground up. So feeling your feet first on the ground and just noticing the pressure of the ground. If you're sitting cross-legged, the way your legs hit different parts of your foot. Notice your feet, the curve of them. And then bring that attention up your shins. Maybe feeling the weight of your shins against one another. Pressing into your feet. Through to your knees if you're sitting cross-legged, feeling the curve, the bend of your knees. Or however you're sitting. Noticing your knees and their support. And then bringing that attention through your upper leg there. Quads, thighs. Maybe your sciatica speaks to you a lot. This would be a place to give your sciatica some love, some attention. And then how that connects into your hips, your hip bones, connecting into your pelvis. And just bring your attention into your pelvic bowl there. And there's a lot going on there for us, just anatomically speaking, but also there's a lot of vulnerability, maybe some emotions still. So there's, that encompasses our low back, hips, all the way around like low belly. And just give yourself a moment in this space. Notice your sitting bones on the ground. It's all part of it. And then begin to let your awareness travel up, more into the center now of your abdomen. This can also be kind of a vulnerable zone. So just notice what happens when you place awareness and attention there. And try to hold any sensation or any emotion that comes up. Just try and hold it and let it be whatever it is. You don't have to try and change anything about that. Again, this midsection, your abdomen can be a really vulnerable place. So just as much as you can, having a lot of compassion for that area. It's easier said than done. It's a practice. And then we'll bring that attention and that awareness up higher into our chest area, below our ribs. Our lungs are, so really feeling your lungs fill up. Noticing the expansion, contraction. And then coming up to your shoulders. Maybe there's some tension there. You know, that varies from side to side. So if you can just feel into that. Maybe your shoulders are feeling. And then let that sensation travel down your arms. That awareness through your elbows, all the way down your forearms, your wrists and hands. Feeling what your hands are resting on, if that's your lap or the floor or a different part of your body. Feeling that pressure and sensation coming out through your fingertips. And then we'll bring that awareness, that intention or energy all the way back up our arms and into our neck. Again, maybe some tension here. And see if with your awareness in your neck, just noticing if there's tension, just with your breath, maybe with an exhale, you can release it just a bit. Even if it's just a subtle, playing around with that. Trying to notice what happens when you play around with that tension and play around with releasing it. Where do you feel that release happening? And then lastly, we'll bring that awareness up into our jaw and our face. Not totally, coming into a relaxed state since we're sitting, but just seeing if you can be aware of where you hold tension. Maybe you scrunch your eyebrows together or scrunch your forehead. Maybe your jaw tightens a little bit. See if you can just be aware of that tension, and just like with your neck, if you can allow yourself to release it just a little bit. Oopsies. And as you do that, just coming back to your breath, feeling into your body as a whole, all of its unique parts, working together for you in this moment, in this present moment, all these ways that your body's showing up for you. And then just connect back in with your physical, into your physical space. If your eyes were closed for that little scan, you can open them again and kind of find your place, look around you, and just find a little bit of subtle movement if you want to do some rocking. Again, feel your feet. It's a good way to bring yourself back. Find some movement with your neck. And then again, notice your breath and just see if it's shifted, if anything has changed for you in your body, in your breath, just with some practiced awareness there for a moment. See what's happening now. So maybe nothing has changed, and that's totally fine, but just the practice is in pausing, right? And just paying attention for a moment. And now, if you're not already, let's all come into this cross-legged seat. You see me in, and we'll have our hands on our knees. And then we'll practice cat-cow seated. So on an inhale, bring your hands to your center, let your shoulder blades come together on your back. And then exhale and let your hands travel back to your knees. Shoulders come forward and roll. So you're still getting that concave spine, so we're really trying to get that curve in our spine. And then when we bring our hands back, we let our back curve the opposite way. And go slow with this, or go at your own pace. But if you go slow, you can really feel into the two, the differences in these two postures, these two forms. Taking your time in each of them to really feel into all the sensations that come along with it. So maybe really, like for me, I really feel my low back when I come into this more concave spine, and it kind of gives me some space and stretch there. So that's a very physical sensation. But then it even starts to connect emotionally, right? When I open up my chest and my heart space, and just noticing any sensation that comes up for you is not incorrect. And as always, noticing your breath. Noticing how movement and breath work together, support one another. Coming back to stillness as you're ready. Placing your hands on your knees. And then you can stay like this with cross-legged with one leg in front of the other. We're gonna do a seated forward fold. If you wanna get into your hips a little bit more, you can stack one leg on top of the other. I think you guys can see that in my video. So I've got my right leg on top, my right ankle is right over my left knee, and my right knee is directly over my left ankle. This can be pretty intense for some people, so certainly if it's not happening for you, don't force it, but it can get you a little bit of an extra stretch in your hip if you find you're a little bit more flexible in your legs. Okay, so we're gonna come into a seated forward fold, whatever is working for you tonight. So you start to walk your hands out in front of you. And truly just find the spot that you want to work with tonight. If you're feeling the sensation and you're like, yeah, that's great, that's where I am, then stay there. Connect with your breath. And as always, try and find that length in your spine. So I like to find the length on that inhale. So I find a lot of space. I'm showing you my side body, like my ribs, I feel like kind of spread out as I find that length in my spine. I connect in. I don't let my sitting bones leave the ground. So I connect in with all of that length. And then on the exhale, I let myself fold over. Maintaining that length every time I inhale, and then exhaling and going a bit further into my fold. So it's just slow, you kind of keep pulsing with it. Inhale, length, exhale, fold, and just kind of letting yourself move with the breath. But I like that metaphor of just moving very slowly, letting your breath pulse with you and helping you find deeper motion, but in correct alignment for you. So I feel my sitting bones on the ground. I feel that length in my spine. And on my exhale, I journey further into the fold and feeling that sensation. And then walk your hands back up as you're ready. You can bring your leg down to the ground if it's not already. And we'll just take a moment to feel into the difference, side to side, if you feel that. If it feels like anything shifted in that stretch. Just taking a moment to be with whatever sensation maybe came for you in that motion. And then we'll venture to the other side. So again, if you're sitting cross-legged, just switch the cross of your legs. So bring your left leg in front if your right leg was in front. Or if you're doing the stack, left leg on top this time, if you're doing like I did, so then left ankle would be over right knee, and then left knee over right ankle. Good. So you choose your own adventure. And then we'll begin to walk our hands out in front of us. Again, just finding the place where your sensation is where you want it to be. So I say sensation, that has kind of a wide, can mean a lot of different things. If you're feeling like sharp pain, then, don't push that. Sit back up and maybe do some adjusting. That's not the sensation I'm talking about. Okay, so just like before, we find the length on our inhale. So find that nice long spine, the space between your ribs, supporting that. So if we, that spaciousness is what's really going to allow these, this movement, this clearing. Maybe if you're, I have issues with my low back sometimes, and so I find the spaciousness so that I can really get this dynamic stretch for my low back or your hips. It all starts with giving yourself the space to move. So if we're doing it all in a contracted space, then it's not going to be beneficial for long. So we find the space first, and then we move with the space into the space. But we don't want to force ourselves into space that's not there. And again, moving at the pace of your breath. Feeling your sitting bones grounded. So feeling into what grounds you first. Continuing to notice that. And letting your breath be your guide. Notice here, just paying attention for a moment to your face. If there's any tension in your face as you're concentrating on, maybe some sensation in your hip, don't forget about, maybe your jaw is clenching and your forehead. Just let yourself relax up there. And then walking your hands back up to seated as you're ready. Coming back into whatever is an easy resting posture for you here. Just for a moment, we'll just sit here and take a pause to notice what's different, if anything's different, if we notice settling in a different way, if we feel like we have more access to breath, or if we're just feeling, like that was uncomfortable. And any and all of that is welcome. And then we will collect ourselves, put your feet on the ground. We're going to come onto all fours. Just for a moment here, into table. Find your space, so let your hands come underneath your shoulders. Find where your knees feel like they have good space, so underneath your hips, maybe walk them wide or a little bit in, wherever you feel like you have good, you're supporting yourself well. And once you found that for yourself, then just stay in neutral table, so this stillness and table for a moment. Filling with breath, noticing how your breath is moving here. Feeling your palms, especially this new interaction with the ground, feeling your palms on the ground. Connecting in with that new energy there. And then we'll begin our spinal movement. So on your inhale, let your belly drop down to the ground and look up. And then on your exhale, navel up towards your spine and look inward. Journeying between cat-cow variation here. Letting yourself get a nice stretch in your core. And again, just noticing the difference between these two forms, the way they work together. But also can have some different effects. Paying attention to your breath. Maybe the inhale and exhale is different for you, which is totally fine. And then coming into stillness again as you're ready, supporting yourself here. And then curling your toes under and pressing your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Pressing strongly out through your hands. You're pushing back towards your heels. And then really pushing a lot of energy out through your back heels like they're going to touch the ground, even if they're not. That's fine. Really feeling into your base here, so your palms and your feet connecting strongly with the ground. And then walk your hands back to your feet so that you come into a forward fold towards the back of your mat. And let yourself stay in a forward fold for a moment, however that's comfortable for you. Maybe you like to grab opposite elbow. Or just let your hands be on the ground. Sometimes people like to stand. I'm not sure you can see this in my video, but some people like to stand with their feet on their palms, so their palms and the soles of their feet are meeting. If that's available to you. Sometimes that can feel good. Options.
wherever you are, just connecting with what's touching the ground. Let your breath move however it wants to. Relax your jaw, your forehead, any tension you might be holding around your eyes. And then with a slight bend in your knees, we'll slowly start to come up. Go slow.
Because we held that forward fold for a minute. Coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. Whew. Take a moment here, feel your feet. You can let your hands stay down by your side. Find your breath, find your footing if you like that, finding some circles here on your feet, that's always available to you. You find a good balance stance where you feel the most supported. I always like to, when I first come into a posture that I'll be returning to a lot, so seated or table or standing, just feeling into every part of it and just giving myself a moment here to connect in with it. Connecting in with your breath, noticing how it's moving here and standing. Good. And then let's inhale, hands all the way up overhead. And then exhale through. A couple more times, just like that. Inhale up. Exhale through. Let's feel into our shoulder blades as we do that this time. So shoulder blades move together as our arms move all the way up overhead and through. Good. This time I'm going to come all the way up and through, and I'm going to keep my hands here in Anjali Mudra. And then I'm going to do, we did this last week. You weren't all here, but it's a stretch I do with my teacher a lot, so I like to offer it. But just interlock your fingers, whatever way is comfortable for you. Once you have that interlock, then press them straight out in front of you. And really try, here with them out in front of you, push really evenly through your palm, so the top and bottom of your palm, and pull your pinkies and your thumbs back towards your face. So you're pressing out evenly through your palms, and now bring that all the way up over your head. Pressing, again, really evenly through your palms. Look up, see what's happening. Bring your pinky and your thumb back down towards your face. Keep breathing. And then on exhale, bring it back down. And then bring your hands back into Anjali Mudra. And then we're going to reverse the clasp. So move your fingers in the other direction. And this one will feel a little bit stranger. Once you have that, then you can press them back out in front of you. And again, really pressing firmly and evenly out through your palms. Pinkies and thumbs pulling back towards your face, and then come all the way up. Maintaining that. So maintaining your palms, pressing firmly up towards the sky. This time you can look up. Pinkies and thumbs pulling down towards your face. Shoulder blades moving together on your back. And then on an exhale, bring your hands back down. Find Anjali Mudra. And then you can shake it out for a moment. Nice, good wrist release, and it moves all the tension actually in your shoulders and your neck too, so that can be a helpful one to know about. Okay, now let's inhale our hands all the way up. Let's bring them through just a couple times again, just kind of moving that through what we just did. Connecting in with your breath with this movement here. And this next time as we come up, let's stay up, have right hand grab left wrist. So sorry, you can't really see, but my right hand is grabbing my left wrist. And then I come up, I find that length in my spine, and then I exhale over towards my right. So coming into a side body stretch there for my right. And think about a line connecting your right wrist all the way down to your left ankle. Just feeling into that whole sensation there. And then we'll come back up through center, reach both arms up straight for a breath. And then opposite, so left hand grabs right wrist. Find that length first, so come up nice and tall, and then move over towards the left side this time. Connecting, I may have said this wrong last time, but connecting right ankle with right wrist. That whole side body opening up. Find your breath. And then come back up. Both hands reach up tall. And then exhale through center again. And then we'll inhale up. And this time on our exhale, let's come all the way down into a forward fold. You can always bend your knees as much as you need to in these forward folds, but let your hands find the earth. And then on an inhale, look up and halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, come all the way back up. And through. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Keep your hands on the ground. Inhale, look up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way back up. In through. We'll do that one more time. Arms up. Through center into a forward fold. Keep your hands on the ground and look up. And fold. And then come all the way up. And through. Lovely. Let's step our feet wide into wide angle. So find what's comfortable for you. I will say that the wider you go, so a lot of times we don't give ourselves a ton of space in this. We just don't, I don't know, we feel maybe a little nervous or something, but the wider we go, within reason, the better it is for our hips. So that's why I give the little ankle and wrist cue, if you can look and see. Sometimes it's hard to see that, but it is good. It's best for our hips to get enough space in there for them to really kind of be in their sockets. Yes, okay. You guys, the way your hands are coming up the camera, it seems like you have questions, so I keep thinking that I need to. Yes? Okay, great, cool. Okay, let's bring our hands on our hips and just you check in with yourself, your center, your breathing, your feet. So it's nice to kind of recheck in with your feet here since they are holding your body weight differently, right? Because they're so far apart. So just check in with making sure that all 4 corners of your feet are pressing evenly into the ground. And then notice that connection all the way up your legs, you know, like how your thighs, maybe your shins, all the way up into your hip sockets, how everything's kind of engaged here together to maintain this stance. So already, right, we're just standing here, but we're already noticing all these ways that our body is subtly adjusting and creating stability in this posture, in this form. So be with yourself and your breath here for a moment or two. Good, and then we'll find our forward fold here. So inhale, let's bring our hands up. And then exhale, we'll move into that forward fold. Let your hands touch the ground wherever they will. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, that's totally fine. But once your hands have found the ground, you can go ahead and let your head hang over.
And then on an exhale, just like before, keep your hands where they are, look up. And then fold. 2 more times. Look up on an inhale. And fold on an exhale. Once more. Right, the length, inhale, look up, and then exhale and fold. Good, so that's the pattern we follow. Bend your knees just slightly, bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up. And then we're gonna pivot our right toes, so you can't see this in the video, but pivot on your right toes so that they're facing the short edge of your mat. And then you can pivot on your left toes a little bit. They'll be more at like just a little angle, so they're not totally straight. Your left ankle is facing like the back corner of your mat there. Giving cues in the online world can be kind of hard. Okay, so then we're gonna find our breath here. We're gonna experiment with that by just letting this, so it's your right leg, you just pivot on your right toe, so your right knee is gonna bend to the square of that ankle. We're gonna play around with that movement and breath. So we're gonna inhale and be straight, and then on our exhale, we're gonna let that knee bend, squaring over your right ankle. And then inhale and stand back up. So just play around with that breath and movement for a moment at your own pace. And if you do notice that it's pretty easy for your knee to go way out over that front ankle, then I would encourage you to move your left leg back a little bit from your right leg. And again, that's taking care of your hips and your low back, honestly, if you're taking care of your hips there. And you're just kind of letting space, giving space to all of that area to really open up. Okay, let's add our arms to this now. So on an inhale, we're inhaling and standing up, and then exhaling, letting our arms come out to the side. So this is warrior 2. And then on an inhale, you can either bring your arms up with you as you straighten that leg, or something else that I've been playing around with and come back out to warrior 2 is on my inhale, just bringing my hands up into my heart space. So whatever feels more comfortable for you, or you can rotate between the two. I'm playing around with this movement for just a few breaths. Let's do one more breath cycle and then meet in warrior 2. So we'll bring our hands out to the side. You can look out over your right hand this time, coming into the full expression of the posture. And as you do that, just really connecting in with your feet. Letting your shoulder blades move together on your back. Feeling into your base, your strength here. And then on an exhale, bend that right elbow and let your right elbow come to your right knee. Left hand comes up to the sky. And then we're going to turn our left palm so that it's facing our ear, essentially. And then we're going to pull that arm all the way up and over so that we have a straight line from our left wrist all the way down to our left ankle. Side body. Stretch here in side angle form. And then on an exhale, let's turn so we come into a high lunge here. So pivot on that back foot. We're on a high lunge over our right foot here. Right foot is in between our hands. And then keep your left hand on the ground, so the hand that's close to the arch of your foot. Keep that hand on the ground, and then bring your right hand all the way up to the sky, coming into a revolved lunge here. My back is to you, I apologize. But as you come into the lunge, or the revolved lunge, let everything come into that revolved twist with you. Moving your left ribs up towards the sky. Really opening up your chest. And then on an exhale, bring that right hand back down.
We're gonna pivot on both feet so that you come into this wide angle forward fold again. Excellent. Let your head hang down here. This is a nice stress relieving form to come into, just in general, so put that tool in your pocket. Then we'll just collect ourselves here, find our breath. Good. Let's find that space on our inhale again. So on an inhale, look up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. 2 more times. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. 1 more time. Inhale, look up, find that space. Exhale, fold. Good, and then bend your knees slightly, put your hands on your hips and come all the way up. And we'll move to the second side. So pivot on your left foot this time. And then a slight rotation in your right foot so that your right ankle is facing, or right heel rather, is facing that back corner of your mat. And then just start to play around with your breath and that movement of squaring your left knee this time over your ankle. And again, if you're finding you need a little bit more space, you can move your back leg back. If you need to step it in a bit, then you can do that also. Just notice what's happening here as you're moving your leg. You can even feel the muscle groups in that leg. Sometimes that's helpful for me to know what's engaging and where. And continuing to notice your breath. Everything's moving together. Finding that space. Okay, let's add our arms. So on an inhale, we're up, and then on an exhale, our arms come out. And then again, you can play around with what you do with your arms on your inhale. If they're up, if you bring them into your heart space. Let's do one more breath cycle and then meet in warrior 2 again. Connecting again here with your strength, your base, feel your feet. Really strongly supporting you here. Your shoulder blades move together on your back as you open up this space here. Looking out over your left hand. And then on an exhale, we'll bring left elbow rather to left knee, right hand up in the sky. And then we'll turn that arm and then bring it out over our ear. So right arm directly over right ear. Then we have a straight line from right wrist to right ankle. Find your breath. See what it feels like to kind of move your shoulder blades together here. So you're opening up again that chest, heart space. And then on an exhale, let's let everything drop. The hands come around the left foot this time, and we pivot on our back foot so that we come into a high lunge. Good, find your footing here. And then right hand stays on the ground. Left hand comes up to the sky as we come into a revolved lunge again. And again, everything moves with you, so right ribs are coming up towards the sky. You bring your shoulder blades again together on your back as you open up that twist. And then on an exhale, bring that hand down. We're gonna drop our back leg, so coming onto that knee and come into table. And then bring your knees as wide as your mat. Sit your hips back on your knees and come into resting child's form. And again, find however this needs to be comfortable for you. So sometimes that means bringing your head up a little bit if you need to stack your fists to let your forehead rest on your fists. That's totally fine too. But just let yourself be here. Regain your breath. Notice what's happening now. That was quite a bit of movement for our practice, so just, see how your body's feeling with that. If there's some heat, if your heart is beating a little harder, and always with the noticing, it's an invitation to just notice and see if you can not attach a narrative or analysis to it, but just let yourself be with that. If something felt supportive, then knowing that you can return to that. And as always, just noticing your breath. And then as you're ready, let's just come back up to hands and knees for a moment where we swing our legs to the side and come all the way down to a seat. I'm just gonna move my monitor a teensy. And let's go ahead and bring our legs out in front of us. Feet out in front of you. Find your seat here, feel your sitting bones on the ground. Let's bring our fingertips back behind our hips so we can press into our fingertips and find that length, that spaciousness. I'm gonna take my jacket off. I press into my fingertips, my shoulder blades move together on my back, and I find that length in my spine, which opens up the space here in the middle of my core. So that's why I cue this, just to feel into that. And also it kind of lets me feel into my sitting bones a bit more easily, the points of them. And then let's inhale, hands up over our heads. And exhale, maintain that length that we just tapped into and bring our hands down towards our feet. So wherever they land is totally fine. But as they land, think about your heart moving towards your feet instead of just your head towards your knees or something. And again, that's allowing that space, that lane, to really open up instead of trying to cram ourselves into a space that isn't there. So we find the space and then we let ourselves move into and with that space. And again, that play that our breath allows for us, really finding that length and space on our inhale. And then exhaling and going and moving into that space, yes. Good, come back up. As you're ready, sitting. We're gonna bring that, let's bend our right knee as we come back up. So right foot is flat on the floor. Flat on the floor. And bring it as close into your center as possible. Good, and then we're gonna hug that knee with our opposite arm. So left arm comes across to hug that knee. And then send your right arm all the way behind you. And just like when we were sitting straight, your right arm comes behind you. You can press into your right fingertips and really help you find that length in your spine. So I don't put my right hand back there so I can lean into it. Rather, I use it as a prop to find that length in my spine. And then I journey into the twist. I maintain that length, that space, and then I journey into the twist. And again, as I'm twisting, I'm thinking about everything coming with me. So my left ribs are also moving around to the right, my left shoulder. And then you can slowly start to look out over your right shoulder. And the cue, as always, is to find that length in your spine on your inhale. So inhale, length, exhale, twist. Good, and then on an exhale, you can unwind. Let's see, bring both legs out straight for a moment. Let your hands, fingertips find the ground behind your hips. And just take a moment, a pause here to notice what's happening now. Pay attention to the sensations from side to side, if anything feels different about the two. Just take a pause here together. Good. Now let's go on to the second side. So bend that left knee this time. Bring that foot up towards your center. And maintain some awareness in the leg that you're not bending. So this time our right foot and leg and my right toes are staying active and engaged and pointing up to the ceiling as much as possible. Good, and then right hand hugs that left knee. Left hand comes around us and gives us that indicator to help find our length in our spine. So we're pressing into our left fingertips, finding that length, and then journeying into our twist. Letting our breath support the movement, and movement support the breath. And on an exhale, let's unwind. Again, bringing that leg straight, sitting with our hands behind our hips for just a moment, connecting in with what's happening. And then we're slowly going to start the transition onto our backs. So go ahead and center yourself on your mat. And then supporting yourself with your arms all the way down, bring yourself down onto your back. And then as always, if you like to find some movement before, so if you want to hug your knees up into your chest or kind of roll side to side, if there's any sort of movement that will help support you as you come into your resting posture, then it's an invitation to find that. And then we'll come into our final resting posture together. So legs come out straight. If there's anything that's in the way of touching your body at all, try and get that out of the way so that those sensations don't distract you. Let your feet fall apart from one another. Let your hands find a comfortable resting spot either on your body or next to your body on the ground. Tap back into that body scan that we did at the beginning. So just slowly on your own, notice from your feet all the way up to your head, your face. And as you notice the different parts of your body, if you're holding any tension there, see if you can just give that tension to your mat, the ground, the earth. Just let it melt away is a term that I use sometimes, or just kind of fall off of you so that it can be used in a new way. There's nothing else for you to do. Just let yourself breathe and rest, and I will call us out. Let's begin to bring our attention back into our bodies, into the space that you're in. You can do that by finding some deeper breaths, finding some smaller movements, maybe in fingers and toes, or letting your head start to, I don't know, wiggle wobble. Go at your own pace. You just kind of feel your body in this space, physical body here. And as you're ready, you can slowly let your eyes open and just adjust to whatever light or room you're in. And just take in your surroundings. Looking all around you and just noticing the light, the walls, the artwork, whatever you have around you. And then as you're ready, you can bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor or flat on the ground, and then help them roll to your side. And then with both hands on the ground, pressing yourself all the way up into a seat. Again, reconnecting with your sitting bones on the ground for a moment. Bring yourself back. Thanks for practicing with me, everybody. It's really lovely. And like I said, I have all these recordings, so if you want them, please let me know. Love you. Good night.
Thank you.
Mm.